Give a shout out to Patti Austin. I watched the interview she did on Narada Michael Walden's podcast, NMW. If you're interested, Narada Michael Walden, NMW podcast, and Patti Austin, type it in. Great insights, great interview. She's one of my favorite artists ever. One of the baddest female artists you ain't never heard of, unless, of course, you of a certain age and time and you really care about going back and you're a music geek and you understand notes and trajectory and chords and progressions. And an artist that her godfather was Quincy Jones, need I say more. All those great duets with James Ingram, the hook, the commercials that made her very successful because she was a commercial, did jingles. She actually bought a Rolls Royce just doing jingles back in the day, which was unheard of. She had done quite well for herself. You know, she had worked with Narada Michael Walden, amongst others, uh, and an incredible vocalist and stylist. Of course, if you happen to be a Steely Dan fan or Paul Simon, you heard her background vocals on quite a few songs. You know, Babylon Sister, you got to shake it fast. I like the story to that because Bobby McFerrin asked about that. I like that story. Um, One of my favorite uncredited Patti Austin stories is when she did the choral hook work on "Swear to God" with Frankie Valli. Her voice was so distinctive and so hypnotic. Has one of the most distinctive tones. You just gonna know Patti Austin's voice. Never had what I call that money track though, besides the duets with Ingram, that would made her a household the way it should have been. But bet your bottom dollar she was every bit problematic for any of these artists, pretty much, who, if you didn't have your chops in your game, she could definitely run you off the stage. She was a pro, still is. So anyway, interview, Narada asked her, do people still care about albums? And she said no. She said MTV changed that. She said that the culture made it, I had to see it, and it wasn't as potent as to how we grew up. He said there's a people who grew up wanting that Stevie Wonder around getting your speakers out. Now, she did mention Michael Jackson, and she worked with Michael. It's the Falling in Love. They did that together, and she worked with him, and they were friends. And she gave him much credit for what he did for MTV, etc., etc. We did sit around, used to listen to Michael's records, because Michael's records were some of those albums we did. There were albums that we did post MTV, but I got what she was saying in totality. Artists emulated whatever a so-called iconic scene it was in the video. They took that to bring it to the stage. So it was basically doing a theme and a play from what was presented. So it became a theater from the record as opposed to record being its own theater. Meaning in your own mind, you had your own visuals and concepts. But because of the video advent and the success of that, that took it to another level where people tried to bring back that emulation. And so people could have that moment of those 3 minutes and recapture that. And that had helped defeat the purpose. Because a lot of stuff that happened in the 80s is one of the reasons why the industry has sagged so bad. Now, you had larger than life artists and great talents, true. However, it became a producer driven era, beat makers. It also became styles and gimmicks. And of course, you had the synthesizer and the technology, which was that's a part of it. And then you had, selling the hook and the remixes and all that. So all that infiltrate to what you got today. So what she's saying is like when you would listen to a rare record that was really good, great, but it didn't come with all the commercial compromise, all that. That's what that era represented back then, and it was a different era. It hit in a different totality. You could listen to certain records and go to the store and listen to them, and you didn't have to have the nuances. Nowadays, people gotta be overwhelmed. They've been treating it like it's a movie premiere. If it don't hit the box office off the jump or the streams or something, that's what you're dealing with. So for acts who grew up in a certain time period, it meant different things. Not the same today. So I got exactly what she said. And she is a very together, down home soul sister that speaks facts. But she also talked about appreciation folks in the industry. And she spoke about how people were embracing. Because I think with the music brought people together. But the industry has been divided and has been corrupt, and a lot of stuff go on, and politics with the wars and politics with this and that. But she's talking about from the chops. If you can work with Paul Simon and Donald Fagen and Michael Jackson and Ray Charles and Quincy Jones, etc., your game is your game. But you got an era that took shortcuts, and I'm sure she's got a lot to say about the sampling, the loop, and everything that goes on today because artistry, who have real artistry, cannot condone and clap for that. And the attention span today is like TikTok videos or something. People don't sit around and want to listen to songs in totality or songs. That's why most of the times when people talk about the best albums, that is a foreign word in the last 25 years. It really is. You got people who put out some intriguing music, and there's certain people that stand out, but you're not sitting there thinking, oh, this is a game changing piece here. It's good in spots. But what she was coming from the era she came from, what she was talking about, that was the norm. And there's a big difference between what used to be satisfactory and what is acceptable today that is passable. And that's what you get a lot of. So anyway, enjoyed the interview. And she is a class act, and she's definitely one of the greatest artists who never gets her true flowers. But I was glad to see the interview with her. And I like what she talked about the album and, and the concepts and what you do and so on and so forth. So respect to Patti Austin. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. Share if you like and hit that membership. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. If you get a chance, watch that interview with her on the Narada Michael Walden's podcast. Check out her music. Check out her versatility, her runs, her skills. What they give Grammys and they hand them out like they used to hand out them Star Wars cards and those old Wonder Bread breads back in the day. They should give her about 10. Because she runs circles around whatever you putting out here today. And I ain't stuttering. Because even in her 70s, Patti Austin is still light bolts ahead of whatever you hearing today. Female and male today. Just keeping it 100. That's a real pros pro. But we don't talk about that no more. I wonder why. I wonder why. I wonder why. I wonder why.